Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. It's become a daily reporting of the most insane-sounding, unbelievable, ridiculous things that stretches one's ability to believe it's actually all going on. But it is. Many of you by now have seen part of our interview yesterday with Father Paula Kalchika, who's being terrorized and threatened by Cardinal Blaise Cupich and his chancery because he was part of destroying a flag which his parish owned and the parishioners wanted destroyed. The flag or banner in question hung in the sanctuary of Resurrection Parish and was a symbol of the ever-widening embrace of sodomy by Cardinal Joseph Bernardin and his pro-homosexual archdiocese. The pastor who was responsible for all of this back in the day was Father Daniel Montalbano, who was an active homosexual.
In that sacristy, we found all these gay vestments that Montalbano had paid big money to have made, handmade by someone. So the bulk of it, all those vestments were carted up and destroyed in the fire pit and are no more, except that stupid banner, which got pushed to the back of the cupboard in the sacristy.
Did you know when you saw it what it was?
Oh, yeah.
And you knew immediately, oh, this is the thing from 1991, and Bernardine and Montalbano and all of that.
And again, it's like, the other Guadalupano is like, what is that thing? And it's like, it hung. It's like, isn't that like the gay flag stuff? It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, why don't we burn that thing when we have our end of this 40-day period on the Feast of St. Michael? It's like, great idea by me. And so that's how it all ended up being put in a notice at the end of my homily and published in the bulletin. Mm-hmm. The horrible sacrilegious cross that sadly hung on our period of consecration will be finally put to rest. So that was August the 16th, mm-hmm. When all that played out. And so word gets down to downtown by the...
Word gets down that you're going to burn the flag.
Exactly. By beginning of September, Labor Day weekend. I get a call by the powers that be on September, it was a Thursday, September the 6th, saying, your ceremony, Father Kalchika, your ceremony as scheduled and written about in your bulletin, the Cardinal doesn't want you to do. He doesn't want that gay flag burnt, and he doesn't want that ceremony on September the 29th. So, of course, I share that with the Guadalupanos. I share that with the parish staff. And they're like, who is he to tell this faith community to do what it wants to do with its property? That thing costs our parish over $1,000 to make. Deacon Paul Bovin, one of the deacons, was just so over the top upset about that amount of money being spent on something of that nature at that very time. So between the Guadalupanos, the parish staff, it's like, okay, Cardinal doesn't want us to burn that thing on Feast of St. Michael. He doesn't want us to do it in a public way. Well, let's take care of it now. Friday is the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross. So the sacrilegious cross pushing homosexuality was destroyed on the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross. And the group of faithful, total of 8 of us participated, 7 Eucharistic adorers as well as myself, went through the process of 1, lighting the fire, blessing the fire, saying prayers of deliverance over this thing before it was destroyed by fire, and then praying a rosary for our Blessed Mother's protection, one for us as well as for the purification of our community. And so it was, we thought, put to rest in a good way without drawing undue attention by the evil elements of our community. Because sadly, we are way too close to Boys Town in Chicago. Yeah. It's
the gay neighborhood.
The gay neighborhood, the over-the-top gay neighborhood, just east of us, just east of the Chicago River. And again, despite our best efforts to not draw the ire of the community, it did scratch a nerve with these people.
So for all this, Supich sent chancery officials to the parish who told Father if he didn't comply with their demands of packing his stuff and heading out with them immediately for psychiatric treatment, that he'd be arrested. They're going to call the cops. This is ridiculous. But adding one ridiculous insult to another is this never-ending, escalating show of hypocrisy and deceit. Consider this. Supich and the merciful bunch are always going on about mercy and being nice, and we're in the midst of a revolution of mercy in the church. They are so concerned about appearing merciful, especially to secular homosexuals and their allies, that they will steamroll their own faithful clergy, even if those clergy were themselves victims of homosexual predation, and not just once, but twice.
In the course of my lifetime, I've had many great losses. When I was 11, taken by a evil man. It was the first time I was in a car that had automatic door locks. Once those door locks locked, my fate was sealed. And I was under that man's control. And he took me in his car, in a locked car, and drove into a garage. And in the darkness, in this locked garage, he worked me over. When he worked me over, could not move. I could not speak. I was under the control of that man and the evil spirit that was in possession of his body. And as soon as he finished with me and the evil spirit decided to let him go, I was able finally to get out of that car and break free of that garage.
Did you tell anybody? Did you tell your parents?
No, because I didn't have the words to describe what was going on. I didn't know about sex. I didn't know about predators. I didn't know about gays. I didn't know about any of that stuff. This was all kept in for that period of time. It wasn't until the second event that I had the courage to bring it all to Father Corbo and spill it out there, what had happened to me. So
that was 8 years later when you were 19, right?
So again, older, somewhat wiser, but again, blindsided by this time the predator being a priest. Yeah. So, and again, the demonic element to it all played out. You know, once Father Cosi got me back behind the kitchen to where his quarters were at and had me walk into the front part where his dining room was at, he locked the door, turned the light out, and then I was frozen and couldn't move, in part totally back in that dark place, in that blackness, in that black garage where I couldn't speak, where I couldn't move, where I couldn't talk. And I literally just shoved myself into the wall, into the bookcase as much as I could, so that he couldn't hurt me more than he did. But again, it was a very dark and evil place. So people are so blithe with how they talk about individuals who are sexually abused with not knowing the full depth and breadth of how they were ravaged. You know, the lawyers and the players that operate the chancelleries think that payouts and big money settlements save people, but somehow you can put your life together after that. But that is not the case. Who you wore is over.
So step back from this for a moment and just look at it. A priest who is a good priest, doing a good job, his best to lead his little flock to sanctity, comes across a symbol diametrically and diabolically opposed to that, which is owned by the parish. That's key. It's owned by the parish. They ask that it be burned. He agrees. They burn it. The private ceremony becomes known through social media, and the big gay hate machine at the chancery and the city go into high gear and demand blood. Supich dutifully snaps to attention, sending enforcers to drag the priest, a two-time victim of homosexual predation, into psychiatric care for his participation in burning a symbol of evil that his parish owned. Now the priest is in hiding in fear of his life from the homosexual community and fear of injustice from his archbishop. This is ridiculous, and it's got to be brought to an end. That's why we are urging you to sign our church militant petition that Cardinal Supich must be removed or resign. Over 15,000 people have signed that in just a matter of a couple of days. Please add your signature and tell everyone you know. The Revolution of Mercy is a reign of terror for those who won't go along with the gay agenda. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.